HirePHD's Alternative Career Path Success Stories, ACPSS series. I am Victoria Sid, your host today. Today we have Conny Lin, who was a medical science liaison at AbbVie and also our co-founder of HirePHD and the ACPSS series. Welcome.
Hey.
Hello. Thank you, Conny. Let's start with telling us about your MSL career.
Well, my MSL career, I think this is a topic a lot of us, especially as scientists and bioscientists, would like to get into. I was fortunate enough that I got an opportunity to get to become a medical science liaison. So this is one of I feel like the career that make the most justification on my education PhD in neuroscience. I was a MSL for Botox therapeutics, not to be mixed with Botox cosmetics. Even though I really want to be on Botox cosmetics, but I wasn't. So Botox therapeutics are therapy for stroke spasticity, and like there are also migraines. There's like also the lazy eyes. There's tons of indications. It's very fun. Like my day will be mostly communicating to the what is it, the key opinion leaders who are, to me, simply put, the famous doctors, the doctors that's so very well known, and then driving the industry, the therapeutic areas, and communicate science to them, and also helping internally about their science communication.
That's awesome. I think a question that a lot of viewers would have is that how did you even land this position? Because we know the medical science liaison is a very hard career industry to break in. So if you could share a little bit about that, that'd be great.
Yeah, that's definitely like, how do you get into a job that they want people with experience? And then seriously, they do want people with experience.
Yeah.
Say two things, right? First, for people who doesn't have the advantage I'm gonna talk about next, which is networking, is the look for the contract positions. Because usually you get people who are going on maternity leave or short leave, or they just need somebody temporarily. That kind of posting, they don't have as high of a bar, because mostly experience, like if I already was MSL, I'm not applying for contract position. I don't need to, right? I need job security. So your competition will be a lot less fierce. And another key things, I really, you guys hear that over and over again, networking. This, don't, like, no way, don't downplay that, because that's how I got the job, and that's how I got many other jobs I had before. It was basically, my friend gave me a text and say, hey, we're hiring MSL, are you interested? I'm like, no. And then, okay, what drug? And then it said Botox. And then people who know me knows I love Botox. I'm like, and yes, I say yes, and I go apply. Without that, I'm sure like there's tons of resumes on the person's desk I will never get an interview. Right. So that's simply how I got my resume on the top of the pile. But then that's not to downplay the things I've done before, right? Before that, I'll say the story many of you might not heard. My first job out of school is actually a medical office assistant. You know, those people sitting in the front of the desk in the clinic. I was there in a Botox clinic. So Botox, right? So after that, I went into other careers such as policy and sales. But without that career path, like I work in the Botox clinic before, I don't think I will be on the top of the resume, right? Because I don't have that experience at all. Yeah. So just letting you know, little thing here and there actually help out.
So it seems like networking really helped you a lot, knowing people, being diverse, knowing people in the company in particular, to get some of those key information in order to be able to enter the field. What do you recommend for a normal person who maybe just applies from like a job posting? Do you think do they would still have a chance to enter this kind of position or get an interview even per se? So
Depends. I said depends because it depends on the company.
Okay.
Say, I'll write some notes down so I cover everything. Like first is the size of the company, right? If you're talking about AbbVie, Allergan, or like Sabino or some like huge companies, it's too competitive. Everybody want to be there, right? So they might just like, oh, no experience, you're gone already. Like, not even take a look. Another thing is your therapeutic area fit. So Botox is a neuroscience drug, hands down, and I'm neuroscience. And that happened to be my dissertation was studying one of the molecule that's inhibited in the pathway of Botox inhibiting. So like perfect, right? So if you have that perfect fit in terms of the therapeutic area, your research is fit right right dots on, then you might have a chance. And you still need to network. Because
Okay.
the thing is, the person who gave me a message, they already know my work ethic. They already know how I work. They are not embarrassed of putting my name forward because they're putting their own name on the line when they refer you, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that kind of networking is important
Yeah.
still.
So, with others trying to enter the MSL industry, would you suggest them to start with companies that are a little bit smaller in order to gain that experience before they start to apply for these big pharma companies?
I would say apply to everything because you never know,
Yeah, okay.
right? You
It
just
just
never
happens.
know. Yeah,
Yeah.
application is yeah, sure. There is quite a bit when we teach resume writing. It's a tailor every single resume, and no joke on that. There is some investment there, but why not,
Yeah.
right?
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about your position in which what does a daily your day as a MSL look like?
Huh? My day of MSL usually, okay, I'll see. Usually I wake up in the morning, I read a pile of papers. Ask me about that later. and and then I'll prep my meetings. So I think everybody kind of do it differently. People who know me knows I'm a little like I plan everything like super well ahead. So I already know what the meetings I'm have today. Yesterday I already planned everything, and then what I'm gonna talk about with the doctors, and then I get that all sorted again just to make sure I have my day ready, and then I'm going to usually Salesforce. Everybody every company probably do it differently. I'll go to Salesforce and see if there's anything that I should catch on, like planning what doctor I should reach out again to set up the future meetings. Um, and then I go on my day about meeting with doctors. Usually, you are expected to meet with the doctors quite frequently. Different doctors, not the same doctor. Yeah, and then talk to them about the messages that the company has determined the strategy. Okay, this quarter our strategy is to communicate this out, or sometimes we'll be communicate talking about doctor about their research, the research they want, the funding from the pharma company as well. It's quite varied to be honest, and then even and go throughout the day during the time that doctors are busiest, usually that's the time that we don't have. Like during the daytime, I rarely got much of a meeting. I might get a lunch meeting with a doctor because the doctor is eating lunch, but during the meeting patient time, there's no way you're gonna be bugging them. And then evening, going to the evening, they might be having dinners with the doctor or running some events like journal club or something. It can be quite packed, and then you can sometimes pepper with conferences. We sometimes might be sent to conferences, and we need to take notes. So we told like business medical intelligence, looking at what other companies are doing, what are presenting the newest research, and then also supporting our own. Yeah.
That sounds very intensive and very interesting. So would you say you would be basically doing interviews all day as MSL?
Not all day. You'll be really actually you if you talk to a doctor all day, you're very good. Like you're
Mhm.
probably at the later stage, you're in the job for a long time, because I find the really tough thing to when you're new to this role in any new company and new therapeutic area is you don't know the doctors, and doctors generally don't want to talk to you. So that's another thing, right? If you're kind of like shy about that and don't feel good about that, like having to beg people for their time, this job is it's not gonna make you too happy. Yeah. So 1 or 2 a day is pretty good. Yeah, I said pretty good. If you have that interaction, and most of other times, like, well, we have so much paper and then document to read and digest. Because when you talk to the doctor, they ask you a stats, you gotta be like out right now. Like you cannot
Mhm.
be like, oh, let me get back to you. You can, but if you keep saying that, it'll be like, why do I need you for? I just talk to ChatGPT then. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. What are some of your strategies that you use to kind of make the doctors interested in you and want to talk to you?
Oh, this is a very good question. I never thought to like ask, but this is a great question. And the answer to this will benefit not just for MSL, but for everything else you do in life. It's to find out what that person care about, right? Customer service is always about like what do they care about? How do I tailor the interaction in the way that they find beneficial? So at the very beginning, when you don't know those doctors, I still do that. People know that I'm now a development director at EA. I still do this every day to people, partners that I need something from them, but I don't know them. First thing I do is I ask around, research the hell out of this person, and find out what makes this person tick. Then you tailor your message around that. Then
Mm.
you'll be able to maybe get a better answer. You have a better chance of get a positive answer or answer back, right? Usually doctors don't even respond to you. So how
Mhm.
do you make them even respond? That's the biggest
Mhm.
challenge.
So it seems to me it's like almost like applying for a job in which you really have to do your research and do extensive background research on the candidate that you're talking to.
Yeah, and then it's a lot of the things are not on internet. A lot of the things like utilize your colleagues. Like I partner so closely with our sales team because they know their doctors inside out. They are the expert on knowing how what
Mhm.
makes their customers tick, right? So
Yeah.
you'll ask them like, hey, how is this doctor about? Like, what are the question? What is there anything I can use to to make them want to talk to me? Right?
Mhm.
They probably give you some tips most
Yeah.
of the time. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I want to touch on is we know MSLs travel very frequently. So, what is your travel schedule like? Is it already scheduled ahead of time, or is it more like last minute kind of arrangements for meetings and traveling?
Depends. I know. It depends. Most of the time is planned quite well ahead because it's based on doctor's schedule, right? Sometimes it's most about an event. I'm planning. Oh, so we're gonna gather like maybe 20 doctors in one room. We're gonna do a journal club, or somebody's gonna one doctor is gonna bring in a famous doctor, and that doctor is gonna present. Those are very well ahead of time. But sometimes it could be like, hey, my sales team tell me like, oh, this doctor have this thing going on, and could you go over and take a look? That is very rare. Um, because now we have Zoom, right? We don't need to go all the
Right,
way there to
right,
answer questions. So
right, right,
usually it's
right.
like, hey, let's jump on Zoom and talk about it. In terms of travel frequency, I think pre-COVID and post-COVID are very different. Like
Yeah.
before, it's like all the time, right? And now, I feel like I was at the time also when COVID just opened up a little bit, and then the company is considering like, hey, do we really need that much travel? Can we just do Zoom? But honestly, like with this kind of very close partner customer relationship, it's it's very hard to establish a solid trust with just Zoom. Like person to person is almost, I feel is still quite
It's the
important,
number one.
especially in this level of engagement. Yeah.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
but
that's good to
I'll tell
know.
you, presentation on Zoom is so much easier. You can have notes in front of you, right? And then your
Yeah.
presentation is like perfect. But in person, you can't.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And there's nowhere to hide. Um,
Yeah.
How about was there things that you particularly liked about your position and what you disliked about your position?
Oh, okay. Let's talk about my dislike because I kind of hinted it about the reading the paper and
Yeah.
then talk about what I like. Uh, the the paper, oh my God, I don't know if that's because Botox has so many indications, so there's and then so many active research going on. Like in Times Magazine cover, it one time it has like Botox, the magic drug that fix everything. You can just imagine how many indication and possible research that's going on. So the pile of paper I have to read every day is like I feel like the 3 months I was in started as an MSL, I read more paper than my entire PhD combined. So, so if you don't like reading papers, I think this is might not be for you. But I can describe that MSL feels like PhD, but no wet lab. It's just everything but minus the wet lab. So if you want to imagine like what you do every day in the diversity of what you do, like including like conferences, writing report, all that, just minus a wet lab because you got clinical research department doing that. So that and then plus something else, right? And
Mhm.
what I don't, what I like the most is reading, like helping doctors on their research proposal. So we also, I think most company does that. They will get the MSL to help the medical doctor with their research proposal before it gets into our internal committee for juris, like to say, hey, we're gonna fund it or not fund it. So I feel like most, I say more doctors don't have more research experience than you do. So their proposal often need your help. So I feel the most useful there. It's like, hey, I can actually provide real value to the doctor and then make the proposal look way more sound and solid before it go into our internal committee and then help them to get the money from us, right? And then as soon as they get the research relationship established with the company, then your relationship with that doctor become really tight, and that helps with your portfolio later on, right? So it's both fun and very beneficial to the relationship with your
Mm,
KOL. Yeah.
mhm. So it seems like you really have to enjoy speaking and reading if you want to dive into this position.
Mm.
Very different from I think a lot of people would think of what MSL is like usually. Um, what would you suggest for? Is there any other career paths there are in pharma besides MSL?
Well, actually, after getting, I know most people what they know is MSL, but after I got into pharma, it's like, why didn't people tell me about all these things? Like the entire pharma has all these positions that PhD can apply for. Like, okay, like for example, I'm typing it down a little bit. For example, there's something called pharmacovigilance. They basically look at is there any violation in the way that the drug was used, or like if there's any issue that was found with a drug, like, oh, this drug was prescribed to pregnant woman, but it's not supposed to. But doctors do have the freedom to do that. They're based on their own judgment. It's within their power to do so. Or they're being prescribed in different indication that's not being approved by Health Canada, which doctor can do so, right? And based on research, right? So and or some incident, like, oh, somebody has some minor issue with the so adverse effect. Those are the department that they handle all those data and then also help with the answering Q&A. I think. No. I think they don't answer Q&A. Answer Q&A is medical information. So that's another career. That's very, very good for PhD. And also a lot of the pharmacists do that job because they know the drug very well, right?
Mhm.
So that's a lot of communication there. And then another thing called market access. Market access is talking with the Canadian government. This is more like in Canada, it's probably more prominent here, I think, because well, the drugs biggest purchaser government. So the market access need to present scientific evidence and blah 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 to the government and say, hey, you should fund our drug, you should pay for that drug, include that in the pharmacare or something. Yeah, those are one career path as well. Oh, there's so many, and you can do sales and you can do clinical research too. Yeah.
Wow, it seems like there's a wide variety of positions that we can tap in, just besides MSL on this big pharma. How come we don't really hear of these positions? Are they advertised well, or do you think there's a way that we could learn about these positions a little bit more?
You know what? Maybe HirePhD should invite those people in as a speaker. Um, yeah, they are not. I feel like those positions, they don't usually ever target recruit. The recruiting is not targeted to PhD, right? Because they not don't necessarily need a PhD to do it, right?
Mm,
But PhD can do it. So for us who are interested in something else, because MSL does have its downside. Like for example, reading so much paper and then also like you have to beg people to talk to you. Like
mm.
it's sometimes like doesn't feel great, right? But those positions we just need to know the keyword. Maybe like we can share that with our audience here. Like you need to know the keyword, then you search for the job, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Another question I would love to ask is that there's a lot of courses out there about talking about MSL and diving into the career and training you and giving you skills about entering this career industry. Would you recommend them at all?
No. I'm sorry, but if taking those courses make you feel more confident, go for it. But honestly, not just for MSL, but for every other job that I have done, it's all about the experience in the job. Nothing, no education will beat that by like far stretch. Education probably just give you the basic lingo and then like a basic mindset of how to think to do the job, but like 80% of the stuff you need are learned on the job. So experience beats everything. I'd rather you spend the time to take a sales job. Sales job has so much skill set that you need for MSL. Like for example, be able to take like all the time saying like no to you, like I don't want to talk to you. That kind of like taking that all day, like sales, man, will prepare you for for that. And also then you have that experience on your resume, right? I'd rather you spend your time to do that than keep taking education than you just stepping on one place like, oh, I still when you apply, the person still look at your resume and say, oh, you just fresh out of school, right?
Mm, mm,
That's the first thing they see. Yeah.
mm. So job experience seems like key.
Yeah, any job experience
Mm.
better than oh, it's all education, no experience.
Well, that's really good to know.
Yeah.
Do you have any final advice for the audience?
Final advice, I think I know MSL sounds like fancy and stuff, like a lot of people might go for it, and then it's very, 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 very tough to get your first one. If you feel your personality, like what I talk about the negative side, so you can decide for yourself if that's still for you, right? If you still think it's for you, keep going, really. Keep networking, keep doing great work, and volunteer to do to get more networking, and keep trying other peripheral jobs, right? You don't need to just go into MSL right away, right? I was a medical office administrator job, right? Before I become there. So don't give up, keep going. You think this is a way for you.
Perfect. Thank you, Connie, for your story and words of wisdom. If you like today's episode and want to hear more about career journeys, please click and subscribe down below. If you have any questions for Connie, please feel free to comment down below. Bye. I'll see you next time.
Bye, see you next time.